Welcome, Mead Talk.
Mead Talk.
Thanks so much for showing up tonight. If you're not aware of what Mead Talk is, it's a wonderful place that we get to come together and talk not about mead necessarily. We don't always talk about mead. We have had a few episodes where we talked about mead, but
Yeah.
mostly it's talking on mead, which is a big difference.
Yes.
About mead, on mead. Sometimes we talk about mead while we're on mead.
With mead.
With
Yes.
mead. Yes. But it is a place where, in order to enter the realm of Mead Talk, you have to have 3 drinks in you.
Meads.
Yeah, 3 meads. Yeah. But just in case you don't know, mead is an alcoholic beverage fermented from honey.
Yes.
So,
Often stronger than beer.
yes. Often stronger than beer. A lot stronger than beer.
Yes.
Falls in the wine category.
Falls in the wine category, of course. But I'd say it hits you different than wine.
Yes.
Much better, much happier. And that's why we believe that everything is better with mead. So, welcome to Mead Talk. Now, mead dissolves all the filters of the mind. So, it has brought people to peace, but also brought people to war. So we believe it's an extremely important part of conversation to dissolve those filters of the mind and be able to talk about all sorts of crazy, awesome, difficult subjects, which is exactly what we do here. Tonight, we have our good friend Mike Rogers up here.
Thank you.
And, you know, there's a lot of different subjects that we can talk about, a lot of different ways that this might go, I believe.
Correct.
I can think of probably about 10 right off the top of my head, but there's some different things that we've been plugging away at here. And, you know, we haven't really gotten to depth on this outside of tonight. A little bit. Some. But there's a lot around this subject. And we've talked a little bit about this with our dad when we had our dad here on Mead Talk. But not like... Yeah, we touched on a lot of things when he was here, actually. But yeah, so this is a very interesting subject that I think a lot of other people are interested in as well.
I would hope so.
It
It interests everybody, whether or not they're interested in it.
Yes, for sure. For sure. And just make sure you're right up in the mic when you're talking. That way everybody can hear you. If you got to be able to
Is
hear
this better?
yourself. That's so much better.
All right, I
There you go.
apologize.
Like you're doing karaoke.
Oh.
One of our avid karaokeers up here.
I try.
Yes. Well, you do well. You do well.
Thank you.
And but so, Mike, tell me about this. And what has sparked your interest down this direction of you? You go ahead and you give your 2 cents.
Tell us, lay it out for us. Tell us about this rabbit hole that you found that you...
Okay. I watch a lot of YouTube.
No.
Oh, yes. Yes. I watch a lot of YouTube. And there's several people that I've come to trust over the years just because I know they vet their material quite well. I know that they don't just run with the first thing they hear. If they hear something of interest, they're going to dig into it some, hopefully come up with some interesting details, and then they'll share it with everyone. And there's one in particular that I've been following now for, I'd say, the better part of 2 years. And one night it came across my feed that they had just posted a video, so I went to see what it was about. Typically, it's about state of the world. It might involve politics, it might involve religion, it might involve just anything geopolitical. But this particular time, and it's this girl and her husband that do this together, and they've gotten quite good at the production quality over the years. But this particular night, this video, it really just hit me because I knew, and for those of you who are waiting, here's the topic. I knew that the artificial intelligence was curating content. No doubt, right? Because when you go into certain apps and social media sites and you feed into it, you start to see almost as if by listening to the radio, it knows what songs to put on a playlist for you, okay? And so it tries to pique your interest. And of course, most of this is done for marketing, okay? Because there's big money in marketing. So it curates this list of videos based on what you've liked or even sometimes what you've disliked. But what struck me about this video is they're talking about how not only is the content curated, but the comments are curated. In fact, we can pull up the same video and look at the comment section and have different feed of comments based on what we've previously liked or disliked.
So you're telling me that you get a more interactive experience thinking that you're talking, thinking that more people are agreeing with you or disagreeing with you based on the comments that you're seeing, developing, trying to develop your state of mind in a particular area based off the comments that you see, because it is more interactive, right? It's not just the posts that you see, but the actual comments that you see that tends to be like reviews for for something you buy on Amazon or something, which sways your decision on whether you buy it or not, right? So it has more influence.
It's going to keep you engaged. And the engagement is what the marketers are after. So anything they can do to keep you engaged. And if they didn't have a way of monitoring and watching what you pay attention to, what you might comment on, or things like that, then it would just be a random hodgepodge on your feed. But if you can play with this. I mean, you can literally mess it up by searching out things that are outside of what you normally would search. Or instead of disliking, for a while, like stuff. Or comment differently and see what happens. That's how I figured out that they weren't just putting this out as a story. I started playing with my feeds, and they started changing.
So I've noticed, and actually this is how I get to some of the products that I want to find and stuff, but I just can't find through Google search or whatever. I just start talking to people about it. I know it's weird, but I already know that they're listening. They've been listening to me for a while. Let's just put that out there.
All of us.
Since about 2009, late 2009 to 2010, they've been listening to me, just because of some of the people that I've been associated with. And
that's a different level of listening, but it's
well,
more personal, more direct.
it is very direct, yeah. And I
Yes.
know they have been, and I won't go into that part of my life unless my phone is not near me and your phone's not near you. But
And none of this.
yeah, exactly. But they have been listening.
Folks.
Yeah, they have been listening to me for a while. Just because the people that I've been associated with and who have been around, I've got a friend that's very. He works for the DOD, or I think he actually doesn't work for them anymore. He used to, but
Probably enough said.
But yeah, he was like, yeah, they're listening, dude. Okay. But anyways, and it doesn't matter if you try to take your battery out or anything like that, it doesn't work. It still has backup battery.
And that is, by the way, all because of the Patriot Act.
All because of the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
But if I want to find something, and I do a lot of Facebook marketplace searching, right? Because I believe if I can find, one man's trash is another man's treasure, or, if somebody has something that I don't need anymore and I can take it off their hands, better for me, better for them. I'm glad to pay them for their product. or whatever they have. Most of my tractor implements, all that kind of stuff, I've gotten through Facebook Marketplace. But they have ads that pop up. So if I want something, I'll just start talking to people about it. Yeah, I've really been looking for this. After about 3 times of mentioning it, I'll go to Facebook Marketplace and I'll just start scrolling down, and the ads will have what I'm looking for. Very interesting. Phone's been in my pocket the whole time. When I mention it, but they can still hear it. I don't know. Is that coincidence? I don't know. I've tested it like hundreds of times.
Oh yeah, that shouldn't even come close to secret anymore. That should be wide open. Everybody's well aware of that. In fact, if anybody took the time to click on the terms of services of that smart television hanging on
and
the wall
actually read it,
yeah. They've been listening to all of us for a very long time.
but they know that we're too dumb to do that.
Most folks just don't care as long as they have the shiny bauble, which is the internet going through the TV playing the football
Or
game.
some folks think that it's okay for it to always listen because you have things like, hey, Google, that have to constantly listen for it to pop up and you be able to talk to your smart device.
Or Alexa.
Now,
Or
that's
Bixby,
interesting that they
or Siri.
term these devices smart devices when in fact all they've done is make us dumber.
Yes.
Well, the devices are supposed to think for us. That's the point.
Yeah, and nobody caught on to that either. No. That's what I'm saying. Like, what's my phone number, Matt? Good luck.
Very good question.
Yes, exactly.
I've got it saved.
I don't know. I don't know yours either. However, I do know my dad's phone number.
I know my dad's. I know my mom's.
I know phone numbers that I had to know before smart technology. I don't know phone
Jeremy's.
numbers
I don't
that I've
know
had to
yours.
learn.
Well, I think I
since.
might know yours.
I know
Matt,
yours is.
I know my daughter's.
Don't say it.
I'm not.
Well, everybody knows it actually because it's online. I forgot.
I know my daughter's first 3, and that's it. Not
Yeah.
and beyond the area code, but that's it. I don't know
Yeah.
the last 4. I have to look. That's sad. That's my daughter. Like, if I don't have my
Yeah.
smartphone and I got to reach her, I got a problem. Well, I do have a problem. I haven't memorized my daughter's cell phone number.
Yeah.
That's a problem. I'll work on that.
You know what's
But-
crazy?
Go ahead.
I still remember my childhood best friend's number because
Yes.
I had to call it, you
Yes,
know?
and
I had to
yes.
memorize it.
I remember the home phone number we had, the first 2 we had.
And I bet if I was to dial that number, his parents would answer right now.
There's a good chance.
Yeah. I dialed it like, 6 years ago, and they answered.
Oh, what?
And I was like, hey, his name's Seth. Where's Seth at? What's he doing? Oh, my gosh, he's off to this, doing that, and blah, blah. I'm like, oh, wow, that's wild, you know? He's like in another state and stuff. But I was like, that's crazy, you know?
Huh.
But it was the same number. It's wild. But I remembered it all these years since I was like 10 years old.
I got to ask, what state? Do you know what state he's in now?
I don't. That was 6 years ago. He was in like Arizona or something.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But-
Is he military?
He had some military experience, but he was out, I believe, doing something else when I called
Okay.
and talked to his parents. But
He'd be about the same age as you, right?
yep.
Okay. See, there's a guy named Seth that I met through, of all things, TikTok. He lives in Kentucky, but he's a pretty cool guy, and I think he's too young to fit the bill. And I don't know his last name, so that might help if I did. But
Hanson.
no, I don't know the Seth that I know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know his last name, so.
Well.
I know I slept on his property like 6 days out of 3 years, but I don't know his last
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
Well, so what worries you about this? I mean, I can tell you all day what worries me about it.
No, honestly, that's a very, very big question, and it has very big implications because folks are steered. They're steered into anger. They're steered into fear. They're steered into withdrawal. They're steered into all these emotions that are being artificially curated to them based on one instant decision to like or dislike something. And it just progresses, and before you know it, they have a profile built on you, and they know more about you than you know about yourself.
So there was an app that I was going to start a while back. I still have the idea.
I know somebody that could help you, maybe.
Okay. It's called Clit.
Go on.
It was a knockoff of YOLO, right?
Okay.
So you only live once. But Clit, which is very funny,
It is,
but is an acronym,
obviously.
and it means can't live it twice,
All right, then.
which is, I think it's better than YOLO. You only live once.
It's way better.
Yeah.
Because you get to say clit.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's funny, but it's also, it means something.
It's a
Yes.
word for something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Heard.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Can we come up with
Nobody's
one?
ever found it, okay?
Can we come up with one for cunt? Just saying.
But I developed a bunch of different T-shirts for it and stuff like that. I think I probably still have them on my computer somewhere. But it's been years and years, probably about 7 or 8 years since I'd come up with this idea, right? And it was all about, so the whole app, web-based app, right, was all about, and it just, gosh dang, like any time I wanted to take my wife out anywhere, and, before she was my wife, my girlfriend, to anywhere to do anything, I was always looking up stuff, trying to figure out the best place to take her and stuff, all right, what I could do. This app that I was developing was basically an app where people could, it was a social media type app, right? Where people could input peak experiences that they had doing something with somebody that they loved or just by themselves, right? So
Okay, so wait, now the acronym has levels of meaning that,
yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
Continue.
climaxes,
I
right?
love
It's all
it.
about climaxes.
I love it. I'm right there. Come on.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's all about the climax, the peak human
The peak-
experience.
yes.
And so what I was intending to do was localize it first around the Birmingham area and then expand it thereafter, right? Kind of like how Facebook started. But, localize it and around the Birmingham area have all these spots mapped out where you could actually go to the GPS and you could pick a point where somebody had marked something and be like a lookout spot. Hey, I dated this girl. I took her here. We had a picnic here. It was really awesome. The sky was this. We saw the stars, blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, this restaurant was beautiful. We sat here. It was the best food ever. And then we walked around and had this awesome experience or whatever. But it was all about the peak human experiences with not just relationships, but just experiences. And then I was going to take that data and sell it to the government because I know they're really interested, right? But now I'm like, I don't want to sell it to the government. Back then I was like, I'd make a few bucks, But yeah, it would almost serve as an experiment to figure out what the peak human experience was,
I think that's a great idea, and I know that it involves, at least in part, some of what I'm making a point against.
Exactly, yeah.
To an extent. But here's the thing. You have people that are consenting openly, not behind the scenes, not a roundabout way, but openly consenting to give you that data to say, and I understand the argument from the social media sites and all, you give consent when you click I agree to the terms of services. If you want to play around, then here's the rules.
You want to participate, then here you go.
Here's the rules. Well, nobody reads that stuff, so they're not aware. And if you were planning on selling that information to the government, you would have tried to keep people unaware of that at that point too. But if you were to use it as an open source deal where everybody's aware that that's what it is and that's what it's for, it's not to gather data to sell. It is literally, hey, I don't know what to do this weekend to take my wife out, but they've got people that visit this area all the time. And if they knew about an app where they could say, hey, you live here, but maybe you didn't know about this place. And let me tell you what happened when we were there, and it was magical. And,
Yes.
Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But the point being, that's open source, and folks are aware that you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And with what I'm talking about, folks should be aware that it's going on, but they're not.
Yeah.
So there are people, which since we're on open source and everything,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Graphene OS. It is an actual secure platform that you can install on your Android phone. Uses Android apps, but does not allow Play Store on the phone. So there are ways to get a phone secure.
Okay, but there's always a back door for them.
It's open source. So if there's going to be a back door, there will be multiple back doors. However, being open source, if somebody makes a back door, somebody over here can see that back door and close it, if that makes sense. So I used Linux for years because it was open source. You can't find more secure software operating system than Linux.
Yeah, well, the entire time that I managed Express Oil Change, they ran their LubeSoft was on Linux.
Yes.
A lot of businesses use it
Yes.
because it's more
security.
secure.
Mm-hmm. So that's the nice thing about open source, because it's a community. And somebody may try to slide something in there, but being a community, somebody's going to notice it and be like, no, not happening.
Yeah, and Wikipedia is open source and supposed to be that way too, but you can't trust what you read on there because they don't.
Wikipedia is not open source.
But
Wikipedia is liberal as all get out.
what I'm saying is, I can go in there and I can edit, I can post in there, and
You can edit and post, but it has to be approved.
Yeah, I don't know. I've edited something.
I've tried.
Yeah, I never got.
Because I've tried adding stuff that is true and given sources, but they would not post it.
And when I did, it posted, but then short term after it came down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
can see that too.
That's why I like WikiLeaks.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the crazy
It's
thing
gone
is,
now, though.
there's a
Yeah,
there's a permanent record, a permanent file of every bit of that's ever happened, by
Oh, yeah.
whom and at what time,
Yeah.
and from what computer, and
They have your IP address, your MAC address. They know where you're at.
mhm.
Unless you're doing stuff like I like to do and use proxy servers and such. But that's not here nor
And
there.
no, I am your average Joe when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. See,
You
I
know,
would definitely be above average when it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to stuff like that.
Definitely.
Just because of my
And
background.
so I know people that are definitely above average
Yeah.
when it comes to that. Just they excel. They know how to write the programs.
I'll put it to you this way. I don't have Instagram. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have X. I don't have any of those. By choice. X I'll be willing to get now, but before Elon bought it, don't want it.
Do you interact on any socials? Rumble? None of them?
Nope.
So you have a digital footprint, but it's much smaller than mine.
Right. A lot smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I keep mine fairly small, but I'd be a fool to say that I have a very small digital footprint. I know
Yeah.
better. I've posted content on several different media
Right.
sites. I react and interact, and
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing is, I have met many people off of TikTok, and I know that I'm dealing with real people.
Right.
At the same time, we may be interacting and having a good time, and we know when a bot,
Yes.
someone that is a troll just trying to start trouble, we know
Right.
when they come. We can sense it.
So let's talk about trolls and stuff since you mentioned that. Bots are, you give 2 comments in retaliation to a bot, it's a bot.
You can figure it out. You should be able
Yes.
to. Yeah.
So a lot of other comments that come up that are anti what you're looking at, that are for what you agree with, that you look in the comments. So those anti comments of, oh well, this is just, let's say, conspiracy theory and this and that.
Trolls.
A lot of those are hired by the government.
Mm-hmm. And some play double agent.
Yes, they do.
Yep. Life's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the cast too.
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem is a lot of folks think we're watching the movie, but no, we're in the cast. We're in it. And
whether we're extras or we're...
Yeah, you don't know your full role, but you should definitely know you're in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And those folks that's how they get their Friday night kicks.
Yep.
You know, or their early Sunday morning kicks or whatever. They go in and they poke and prod just to piss people off.
Oh, yes.
That's what I love about my role. I'm the only one that knows really what's going on.
Oh, come on, Matt. Tell us. You got the best mic. Now tell us.
It's not the best mic. I gave you my mic. That one hits all the deep notes of my voice, man. I can't really get, ooh. I mean, I can do it, but it's, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That one's more full. Like, it really grabs.
Full body.
Yeah, the full. That's why we use those ones
I don't
for
think
karaoke.
I can sing Elvis on that one, but I can sing it on these.
No. That's why that one we use for karaoke.
Yeah.
This one is one that we used to use, but it catches too much of the background noise. But since we got this system, it really doesn't. So we should probably go back to them.
Well, we don't use that for karaoke.
No, I'm talking about for Mead Talk.
For Mead Talk, yeah.
Honestly, though, these are better because you heard the feedback I was getting earlier.
Yeah.
You got to be really. It's really tricky. This stuff's really tricky.
So what all do you know, Matt?
About?
I don't know. You brought it up.
No. I was talking about my role
Ah.
and how little everyone else knows in my role of things, and how the government knows very little.
Are we going to keep it that way?
About my role. I live a life online that is on edge.
Now, are we talking about like your rabbit hole searches and what you might be shopping for? Are we talking about social interaction?
All of the above. So
Detail.
anything that they can track me with, I'm living a life that is conducive to them, right? And then everything else is outside of that era, at least as to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I don't like walk into, chambers and Faraday cages and stuff and like drop all my electronics and everything and hope nobody's listening to me. But
Oh, is that just me? Faraday cages are fantastic, by the way.
I mean, I was just saying that I don't do that for sure.
I heard that.
just like I lost all my guns in a boating accident.
Oh, it's on record many times on Mead Talk that we've lost every bit of weaponry that we have.
We really need to stay off of boats, and there's no reason to have our guns on boats, but you know what? We did.
He was in
and
the
we lost
same
them.
accident that I had, and they're gone. They're all gone.
Can't
I
find
had
them.
them all out there. We were shooting on the water.
Very strong current. Apparently, we tried magnet fishing them out, but we couldn't find them. So
Sure, somebody else found them. So
yeah, probably.
it's probably
Just me whistling past the graveyard.
Right?
Yeah. Gosh dang, I saw a sign today that was just hilarious. There was, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a 9mm on a sign. It was like something about their cordless security cameras or something. Like, it was their cordless security something. It was pretty funny, but
Had to be there.
had to be there. Had to be there. It's a good time. It's a good time. One of those times you just had to be there.
Just had to be there. There's your sign.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
So now, do you think? So here, this was one of my questions that I had earlier, but I was, we got into some other stuff. But what do you think can be done about this, and why would you do something about it? So obviously, you think there's a problem with it because people's minds are being skewed a particular manner.
I think what needs to happen is everybody needs to be aware of it and know that they shouldn't be so knee-jerk in reacting, and they shouldn't They shouldn't have the outlook that they have on it. They
should be withheld a little bit, right?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say that. I would say they need to be aware.
Yeah, but if they see something, they should be withdrawn to responding so quickly.
Yeah, take a second.
Because they're trying to make everything so divisive.
Yeah, and you you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. So
I'm totally part of the problem.
But you can never be a part of any solution if you're not aware that there's a problem.
Yeah.
And it is a problem that's how that stuff is handled because
I would definitely say ignorance is a problem.
And they say ignorance is bliss.
It's not.
But I'm here to take that bliss away. I guess I'm not ignorant to the fact that they do this, so now I get to have fun with it instead of it having fun with me. Now, that's the difference. I'm not trying to stop them. In fact, if more people had fun with it, maybe it'd stop on its own.
Well, so I'm under... What were you going to say?
I was going to say it's the equivalent of... And people do this, depending on which party you're for. So if you're conservative, you'll watch CNN to see what lies they're saying. If you're liberal, you'll watch Fox to see what lies they're saying. It's the same thought process.
Opposition research.
Right. You got to know your enemy.
Yeah.
The problem is that people these days don't want to, and that's what causes such divisiveness. Is because you want to be or stay in what you know and what you agree with, as opposed to learn what the opponent knows and what they're learning, so that
step out of the box.
You can form an actual opinion about what's going on.
Exactly. Well, sadly, most people's opinions are molded for them. They're curated to them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Stay in this group.
That's why I'm saying.
And they're told what to like, as opposed to, go here, go here, go here, go here. Get what everybody's talking about. Mm-hmm. Do some research.
You know what's so lovely about that is as soon as you have a different opinion, someone will tell you, oh, your opinion's molded by everybody else.
Yeah.
It's no, just because it's not your opinion doesn't mean it's molded by everybody else. But I'll be the first to tell you, yes, my opinion is molded by everybody else. But I take in every single opinion and I decipher what makes sense, what's moral, what's ethical, first of all. And then I say, what fancy seeing you here? But then I also say, what's logical? Yeah. What makes sense? Let's do some deductive reasoning. I always tell people that, these are things that don't come from me, right? These are things that come from other people. For the simple fact that they're more of an expert than I am. I study people that have devoted their entire life to one subject, and they figure some things out because they've devoted 30 plus years to a particular subject, and that's what I study. And I figure out what they figured out, and I apply it. And I say, okay, they obviously figured some stuff out here. So if it makes sense, if it's logical, if it's moral, if it's ethical, then yeah, I'll take it as truth.
I think that's key too, is finding the people or discussing things with the people that are experts in that field. You would not go to a plumber and say, hey, how do I wire a ceiling fan?
Yeah. However, it also, you're open-minded.
Right.
And that's the difference.
Yes.
You're willing to perhaps accept the fact that you might be wrong about something simply
100%.
Simply by listening to others and getting their viewpoint, because perspective is everything. We can go through the same thing and have a totally different outlook on life.
Now, look, there's a saying
that,
especially with the kids at work, because they talk a lot and they think they know everything, and there's a saying that I tell them all the time, and I'm like, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying before, but I need you to take it to heart. It's better to be thought a fool and to keep your mouth closed than to open your mouth and be proven one.
Yeah, let everybody know.
Listen. Just keep
listen.
your mouth closed and listen.
That's how I've gotten through until the point where I actually was able to formulate an opinion, right? Like, because I didn't believe I even had an opinion worth listening to before.
Same.
Yeah, and
Same.
so what I did was I just absorbed, right? I was like a friggin' sponge.
But not just absorb, because see, that's part
Applied.
of the issue. That's part of the issue that we
Applied.
have. Okay, you can blindly absorb, or you can prune.
Yes.
You can make that.
Well, so now
know.
I'm to the point where, the knowledge that I have is not necessarily wrong. It could just be better.
Correct.
Right? It could be more
Improved
advanced.
upon.
It could be improved upon. It could be more detailed. It could be, worked upon. And it's not like what I know is wrong now. Now I know how to decipher wrong from right.
Correct.
Those sort of things. Because
Discernment.
Because there is a particular point in life where you learn how to learn. Right? And this is what I try to teach my children, is learning how to learn. I said, I don't care what you learn in school. If it applies, great. If it doesn't, throw it out, because I threw most of the stuff I learned in school out. I said, if you learn how to learn, if you learn the process of how your brain works, how you absorb knowledge, but also how it is applicable in your life and where you're going with your life, that is what's key. You can be dumb as a box of rocks, which I've been told my entire life, and still make $1 million and be successful in that area of your life.
Oh, and don't expect it to come right away. I mean, look at Colonel Sanders.
That's a life lesson right there. It doesn't come right away, but I talked to a Boy Scout, because I went on a Cub Scout camp out this weekend, and one of the Boy Scouts, they had a couple Boy Scouts there leading the Cub Scouts, right? And so one of the Boy Scouts was like, yeah, a lot of my friends, they just like really want to be into YouTube, and they want to like make it famous and stuff in YouTube. And I was like, this was at 1:30 in the morning. I'm sitting over the fire, tending the fire. I got a bunch of logs and stuff and tended it while everybody was asleep. And he woke up and came over and he's talking to me. And he's like, it's just crazy to me that they all want to like do this and work at this. And he's like telling them, like, it's not that easy, guys. Like, you make it seem like it's just something you can do. And I'm like, yeah, no, look, you have to be devoted to that, and you
1%.
have to learn, and you have to figure out the algorithms and what works, what doesn't. Mr. Beast, for instance, he has a series where he goes through a year of tweaking all of his videos and learning how he did, what he changed, all the different things. You have to keep that data record and everything and change all that and see the changes and know exactly how to work the system. But here's the problem. The system changes from year to year.
Well, not only that,
So it's
everybody needs to be aware of the 1% rule. We've heard of the 1% when we talk about the elite.
The stock market.
The stock market, the 1%. We know about that 1%. But that 1% rule goes across everything. Only 1% of the people out there that really want to be that famous on YouTube are going to get that famous on YouTube. Only 1% of the people that want to open a meadery in Alabama are going to open a meadery in Alabama.
True that.
I'm just saying. The 1% rule applies across the board. And it's not because only 1% will get the chance to do it. It's because only 1% will put what it takes into it to make it happen.
Yeah.
Period.
A lot of people want to do stuff. Not everybody has
Talking
the
about
will
it's great.
to do it.
Talking about it's great.
Hey, if you want to fly, great, fantastic. But I haven't seen you jump off a cliff yet and flap your arms.
100% of people could
Tried.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
But less than 1% will attempt it.
I tried when I was a kid. Tried jumping off our house with a sheet. Didn't work.
Now, look, I will say it is a much higher percentage than 1% of teenage males that did attempt jumping off of a roof with an umbrella.
Yeah.
I promise. Yes.
I attached a sheet, and
we did try the sheet.
we had
too.
a double-decker deck too on the back of our deck, and I tried jumping off of that, and my knees just ended up straight in the mud. Luckily, it rained.
I was going to say, did anything besides your pride break?
No.
Oh, good thing.
Luckily, I didn't break anything until I started skateboarding, and then that was and then snowboarding.
I didn't. I broke. The first thing I broke was skin, technically. I didn't break a bone, but I wasn't even 2 years old, and I was jumping on the couch, and I sprung off, and I landed on the corner of the coffee table, got 17 stitches on the inside of my mouth.
I remember the very moment that my brother here, I believe it was the first thing that you'd broken or sprained or whatever, your ankle on the trampoline.
The foot, yeah.
Yeah.
I fractured my growth bone. It wasn't
Yeah.
all the way through.
I remember the very moment.
The doctor said that had
It's
it
in
broken all the
Huntsville.
way through, my foot would have stopped growing.
See,
Wow.
that happened to me when I was skateboarding.
Yeah.
I cracked my growth plate bone in my foot.
Mm.
But like 2 weeks later, I was skating on it again.
Yeah,
I took my boot off.
I had many breaks after breaking that skin open, but that was the first one. I wasn't even 2 years old yet. And crazy thing, little side story on that. So, for whatever reason, I liked overalls. Yeah, the ones with the straps over your shoulders. And I was wearing those as that toddler age, right? Had a little pocket here, and I was crying and I was upset because of what had happened. I'm upset. My granddad gives me a nickel to play with. It got my attention. I'm sitting there playing with the nickel. And at whatever point, I couldn't tell you, I'm really young at this point, I stuck it in that pocket. Mind you, I'm in there having basically plastic surgery done and 17 stitches put on the inside of my mouth. We get back home, and my mom and dad had one of those standalone little gumball machines.
Yeah.
Little red gumball machine with the glass globe in it. Yeah, I took that nickel out, got a gumball, 17 stitches in the mouth, start chewing on the gumball.
Yep.
Mom was ready to kill me.
So this weekend, I talked to an older feller. He's probably about twice my age.
Okay.
I love talking to older people just
Yes.
because they have some wisdom behind them, right?
Wisdom.
Now that's not the case with every old person.
No.
And I just want to put that out there because I've talked to a lot of older people, and they're like, "Oh, wisdom comes with age. You should respect your elders." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll respect you and everything, but I won't listen to everything you say for the simple fact that you can live in a freaking padded room with a straitjacket all your life and be 70 years old and have absolutely no wisdom."
There's
Or
some old
you can
people that
be
are going
a-
to vote for a
That-
lady that hasn't done anything in
That
3.5
could
years.
be literal or figurative, by
Yes, yeah, exactly. And yeah, just to play, they haven't been cultured on anything, right? Or you can talk to a 25-year-old that has traveled the world, experienced some multiple things, had many near-death experiences, and has a lot to say.
the way. Yeah.
And and the reason I used to say this is because I was that 25-year-old, right, talking to older people, and they'd be like, "Well, what do you know?" I'm like, "Well, here's what I know," and then be like, "Oh, okay, all right, cool. Sorry, you know."
A little more
It's
than I
like,
thought,
all right,
but-
well, now that you're listening, let's go back to what we were talking about. But and I've also had to give, I've had to give that benefit of the doubt or that mercy to younger people that were talking to me, because I'm like, okay, they're acting like they know what they're talking about, but they're 18 years old. What do they know?
Josh.
So yeah, and you're like, okay,
But he knows quite a bit about what he talks about.
yeah, and so you got to give them, you got to give the person credit for what they've experienced, right? But I don't remember where I was going with all that. But
Wisdom from younger people.
yeah,
You've talked to a lot of old people that didn't have
yeah.
wisdom.
No, I remember that part.
That's number
It's
4,
the
isn't
mead
it?
talking.
That's number 4.
A lot of people don't know the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
Wisdom beats knowledge every day.
Well, knowledge is knowing. Wisdom is knowing how to apply the knowledge. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the wisdom, you don't know how to apply the knowledge.
I mentioned, it may have been before we started, but I mentioned manage and express oil change. Yes, we were talking about
Right.
Linux. Okay. And I had a tech that He had been certified in everything you could be certified in. But he couldn't work on a car without YouTube.
Really?
Exactly, which exemplifies what you're saying to the T.
Yeah.
Because he had all the knowledge in the world, but he had no wisdom on how to apply it.
Right.
He had no idea of what power he possessed. And he didn't, it was like me bringing my tattoo kit to your son and expecting him to know what to do with it.
Right.
It's not that your son is a dummy and not wise, but he has no idea what these tools are for. He knows it's a tattoo gun, you've told him that. But outside of that, he has no clue. Well, unleash an adult in the real world working on other people's cars. And instead of a tattoo kit, you've given him all the knowledge he needs to repair that vehicle, but he can't apply it without tapping into YouTube or talking to a friend.
Yep.
He could get hired anywhere with the paperwork. He couldn't stay anywhere because he couldn't back it up.
And you know, that's a lot of the going to college, getting a piece of paper. Hey, you've got a piece of paper.
All that.
Do you know how
I've come to figure out that really and truly, unless you're going to be a doctor and maybe a lawyer, I won't swear to that, but a doctor, yeah, you need to go, you need to learn and understand exactly which tube in there you're cutting on when you're cutting it. But when it comes to just about anything else, it's just to show that you can accomplish something. It's just to prove that you can go all the way to the end with something.
And this is something that I realized a long time ago. This is my thought process. Society expects me to go to school to learn what somebody in society many years before me experimented with and came to the conclusion of. I have to learn what they did in order for me to get a piece of paper to work in that field. That, to me, is illogical.
It should be.
That makes no sense. I have to get a piece of paper, a degree, that says I'm knowledgeable in this field from what somebody else has experienced and gone through. That just does not make sense to me.
What they have to offer may help you in some sense or way, but it's not the end-all, be-all.
Right. Give me a foundation. Great. Fantastic. Cool.
Or even a route. I mean, you might already have a foundation, and maybe they give you something to look at that changes your perspective just enough that you something clicks. But you still need to be able to come upon the wisdom of the situation, you know.
And see, that goes to when you get that degree. You know, a lot of people have problems finding jobs in that field when they get out because they don't have the experience. But you can't get experience unless you can find a job in that field.
That's why apprenticeship beats college every day.
Apprenticeship, trades.
Yeah, because someone's going to teach you real-world experience and wisdom on how to, and you can improve upon what they teach you in your own way.
There's many guys that have worked in trades that have invented something for that trade and retired.
I'm one of the guys that could have been that guy, but just didn't have the money to go all the way.
Yeah. I remember what I was talking about before. I had said all that to say,
wait,
this gentleman.
He's back.
Train.
I talked to this gentleman who is twice my age, right? Twice my age, and I had gone on this rant about how, you know, people twice your age can be dumb, but this gentleman was very wise. But I had asked him, I said, you know, why do you think that this current generation is lacking common sense? This is a very interesting question. It's very open-ended, right?
It's a very good question.
And he said, first of all, this generation is lacking common sense. And I was very excited that he established that, right? Because not a lot of people believe that.
I call it uncommon sense.
Yes, it's very uncommon now. Rick and Bubba call it a superpower.
Well, yeah, today it is.
For a reason.
Unfortunately.
And he explained to me, he said, our current generations are so full of information that they are told how, what, where to do things.
Oh, we're kind of getting back to where we started.
They're given They're given all the information that they need in order to accomplish or do things. No longer are they given nothing, a blank playing field, to figure it out for themselves. So they don't develop the skill set of common sense.
They don't map it out.
Of figuring it out themselves. They don't develop resourcefulness. And they don't develop any sort of skill set to be able to reason out or figure anything out. And I was like, holy crap. Dude,
Yes.
That is, yes.
And
Never have we been at a time where more information was available
Readily
and
available.
less people or fewer people were able to tap into it.
Unless you're Mr. Hancock and you believe that there was a superior civilization to us before the fall.
But that right there is,
And
is why when my
I don't
kids
know.
are putting
Maybe there
together Legos and they're following the instructions, but it doesn't come out right, they'll come to me and be like, Dad, I did it the way it said. It's not right. Okay, cool. Figure it out.
Go back and figure it out.
Start from the beginning.
Something breaks at my house.
Figure it out.
No, even better than that. They bring me something that's broken. Oh, this broke, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Trash. They're like,
There's
why
that.
did you throw it away?
There's that. But
Well, it's broken, right? Well, I'm gonna see you. And they'll go grab it, and they'll go in the room, and they'll bring it back. Say, good job, bud. Good job, you fixed it. Good job. If I was just to fix it for them, what good is that?
Because the rest of their life, they're
here's
going to
the
be
sad
coming to
thing.
you to fix their issue.
Here's
Yeah,
the
I ain't
sad
doing
thing. Here's the sad thing in today's day and age. There's a Karen or someone out there that's going to call you out.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, wait a second. You do realize that he's doing his best to strengthen. Sorry. He's doing his best to strengthen society, and you're
That was on camera.
Yeah.
you're that's awesome. You're knocking.
I was
the
just trying to
blocks.
get it because that one is very directional.
Speak into the mic, not around the mic.
See the difference? See the difference there?
I do.
Big
Let's-
difference.
Let's try this again. Is this better?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So you're trying to help strengthen society. And because somebody thinks before they speak before they think,
Yes.
or they just don't think, they don't have a thought process. So
Or they think that everything they speak is right.
well, there's a lot of that too. And that's okay if what you speak is right, but unfortunately there's 1%. That means there's also 99%.
Yes.
And so that 99% is where those folks fall. That think they know what they're talking about. They know the answer, but they haven't even really tried to figure out their own thought process. They've just been fed and they've consumed.
One thing that I've found at my age, the ripe age of 22 and a half years old,
Keep it coming.
is
you got a great beard there for 22 and a half.
I'm
what
telling
can
you.
I say?
Definitely the youngest of the crowd.
Absolutely. I aged gracefully. Mead's the key. But I have found when
take
I'm
it.
having a conversation with somebody that knows more than me about a certain subject, if we start a discussion and I give my points and they give their points, and I realize, okay, this person has done their research, they know what they're talking about. So instead of me trying to combat them and be like, no, I know more than you, and sound like an idiot, going back to the full statement, then I'll start asking questions that I wanted answers to about the subject.
Yes.
You seem like you know what you're talking about. Let me flip the role here, and I'll be the student, you be the teacher, and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions.
You know that's how Joe Rogan got famous, right?
It makes sense. And
He-
that's why his podcast is so popular.
He asks
he asks the questions
questions.
people want answers to.
And that's
Dumb or not, he asks.
Yes.
but that's also why he knows so much.
Correct. Yes.
And that's why everybody's like, oh, he's turning into what? Alex.
He not only asks the question.
What is it from Infowars?
Alex Jones.
Alex
He,
Jones.
he not only asks the questions though. Joe Rogan is willing to hear
Yes,
the
any
answer. He's willing to hear it, and if it may,
unless they're being complete idiots.
You want a really good.
he'll still hear the answer.
Yeah.
But he won't. That won't go into his memory.
You want a really
Yeah.
good podcast?
Give it up.
Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson.
Well, yeah.
Get them two talking, dude. Look, that's something that you could listen to for hours on
Days.
and yes, and learn.
If
I love,
you listen,
I love
yes.
Jordan Peterson just because he thinks outside of his own mind.
Exactly, and not
I
only that,
love
he,
it, dude.
he
That's
challenges,
exactly how I
he
am.
challenges others just through his speech.
Oh yeah, you got to go look up the words that he's using first of all.
Yes, the language is something else.
But I had to do that way before him, and so I understand a lot of what he's saying because there's a book that I read out there that has the largest lexicon out of any book in the world. And so I had to go through and research every word that it would spit out. And
just
so,
another level of wisdom.
well, so I believe, okay, and I explained this to the scout that I was talking to in the middle of the night, right? Coyotes were yelling in the background, and me and this kid were talking. He's probably 16 years old, maybe, right? And he's lived on this farm. It was his farm that we were staying at. His parents, and he was a scout before, or a Cub Scout before, now Boy Scout and everything. And him and I were talking. He's on all these medications and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I said, I was talking about that and why he's on these medications. It's because, hey, dude, you've been eating like crap. You've been eating, and that's a whole other story.
It's another good Mead Talk.
It is. Well, we've gotten a little bit into that.
Most folks think they're deficient in ibuprofen or something. They don't realize that it's a check engine light.
Yeah, I'm not deficient in pharmaceuticals.
No.
I'm not deficient in vaccines. I'm not deficient
you.
in anything that the medical industry has to offer.
No.
I am deficient in wellness, right? Hey, brother, good to see you.
What's up?
It's been a little while.
You know what's honestly cool about that?
Yeah.
The last Mead Talk that I was in any way, shape, or form around.
Was that guy right there?
He was your guest. Yes.
Yeah. He's been our guest a few
Now
times.
I left before I left here and then went and interacted in the chat. But yes, the last Mead Talk that I was really in any way, shape, or form involved in. He was your guest. How you doing, Matt? Good.
So, but yeah, just in the middle of the night talking to this kid, and gosh dang, I forgot what the subject was before that.
Oh, here we go. Where's that train? So,
Gosh
no,
dang.
Matt. Honestly, though,
You were talking about diabetes.
Most
That's
of
what I
my
said.
friends, type 1. Most of my friends are younger than I.
Yeah.
And it's because I have gleaned so much from those people. Here I am. I'll be 40.
Have a good night.
Wait a minute. I'll be 47. Yes, 47. This in October.
Really?
Yes, in October. I'll be 47. But I have
thought you
learned.
were close to my age.
We've been over this maybe once or twice. But there was mead. Anyhow, I don't know how much mead, but there was mead. But I have so many friends that are younger than I am, because in talking to them, I realize that they have things that I can learn from. Learn that, I can do that from older folks too. There are some older folks that I've met, that I've befriended, and I talk to from time to time. But I stay more in touch with the younger folks that I've met, and I have learned a lot from them, and in a lot of wisdom, not knowledge. Because I can glean knowledge from anywhere. I can go online and I can find knowledge anywhere I want to. But I can't go online and find you. I might go online and find your persona, your online persona, but sitting down and talking to you about your story, about what you've done and what you've been through, there's wisdom there that I can't get from anywhere else, only from Matt. And the same goes with you, Robert.
So
your experience offers wisdom that I can't get from anywhere else.
This is a layman's term for the difference in knowledge and wisdom, in case anybody out there is really trying to grasp the difference. So knowledge is knowing what toilet paper is. Wisdom is knowing when to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, Auburn fans.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw this out there, guys. We had a guy just literally like I don't know, 30 minutes ago while we were on this. Join our subscription for this, and his name is Water is Fuel. Hold my sippy.
I know him. His name is James.
Yeah.
And
I'm
James
like-
is a really good guy.
I'm like, yeah, water is fuel. Let's talk about it because
Let me explain. James has a minivan that he named Vrumia. And Vrumia has a generator, hydrogen generator.
gosh
on it.
dang it, you said it. He's gonna die
Yes,
tonight. I know.
I
it.
will.
Why did you say that?
He's
I knew what
Wait.
you were saying. You didn't have to go there, Mike. You didn't have to go there.
He's posted this. This is open source.
Okay,
It's
good.
out there. It's on,
About
the
to say,
socials.
I've had a lot of friends die over
Ja-
this. Okay,
James is a really good guy.
And we need to go ahead and say that James is happy in his life, and he
is
Yes,
not at any
James is
point.
not. He's not thinking about.
he's not committing any putty
no,
type.
no,
dang,
unaliving James.
you know
is-
they're listening to me, Mike.
They're listening to all
You know
of
they're
us.
listening.
James, how are you, brother? I love you.
No, there is an energy company, a free energy company that I worked with for some time that is now developing these hydrogen fuel cells. I helped design a couple of them, but they had some other really interesting energy projects going. That's a whole nother Mead Talk, but a
Let me
couple
know
of
when you
them
do
have
that one.
died over this. Okay.
Yeah.
They've had helicopters flown in. The top of their house has been caved in by people coming through the roof
Well,
and strapping up their devices and taking them off in a helicopter and shot to death.
earlier
Crazy
when we were
stuff.
talking
Crazy
about
raids, man.
we were talking about the topic that I brought up, and briefly got into how it's all tied to marketing and how much money is tied up in marketing. And you're bringing up the unaliving of people that have talked about
I
technologies.
really hate that word. I'm sorry.
I know.
Death. It is death. They die.
That is what
Unalive
happens.
is such a wuss word.
It
I'm
is
sorry.
You're right. Hold on.
There's
I think,
death
I
and
think
there's
I-
life.
It
I
is,
think-
but
I
YouTube
think-
only allows so much.
I think
Yeah,
I need to fix the filter a little. So there have been so many people that have died
There you
after
go.
talking about this topic, and they always say follow the money, right? Follow the money, follow the money. Well, the money all goes back to the pharmaceutical companies and the big oil companies. So if they really want to know what happened to these folks, why haven't they investigated people that are tied to that? Because that's where it came from.
Because they're all making money off of it.
Wait a minute.
I mean,
They
we know who
haven't-
killed them. We just don't
Wait
know
a
the
minute.
individual. We know the entity.
They don't want to investigate these people? Why not?
Oh, there's probably too much money involved in not
Wait a
finding
minute.
out. But no,
What? These
of
people are
course, if you
bad
can-
people?
If you can make a vehicle,
No.
if you can make a vehicle that runs on water, and they can no longer sell their gasoline, they have a problem. Regardless of the fact that that engine that runs on water still needs their oil, they can
Yes.
still sell their oil, but they can't sell their gas,
I'm
which
not-
is consumed much faster and needed much more often than the oil.
Well, here's the crazy thing, right? Is I'm not against oil at all.
No.
I think it's fantastic. It's a great source of energy. So great. So glad we found it. So glad we're able to use it. So glad it is so abundant that we are able to use it as much as we do.
That's it right there.
Why?
Though. That's the thing.
Why is it such a big deal to use other sources of energy?
Greed.
So here's
Greed.
why.
They
You re-
didn't
you
figure
ready?
it out first.
This is why. Because the abundance is there, just like diamonds. Diamonds are not as rare as they want you to believe.
There's
Ooh.
there's something else that we're not thinking about with all this. they're the ones that are telling us that we're heating the planet.
Yes.
But they're the ones selling that which is heating the planet.
And they're also the ones that are hopping on their private jets, going to these, whatever you want to call them, saying, hey.
But if they're that worried about if they're that worried about climate change, because it could go either way at this point.
Global
They talk
freezing.
about global warming and
Talking
global
about the
freezing. It's going
We're
either
going
way.
into the
It
Ice
depends.
Age, I thought.
Yeah, listen to Leonard Nimoy in 1977 and listen to
I thought we were going into the
Bible
Ice
today.
Age. What are you talking about?
I mean, it just...
Fantastic movie.
But at any rate, if they're that worried about climate change, and they can still use their... Okay, because if we have a combustion engine that burns water for fuel, it still has to have oil for lubrication.
Right.
You cannot lubricate it with water. Not yet. Maybe they'll figure that out too. Because water is a lubricant. But only to a certain temperature. If they can fuel it with water and lubricate it with oil, then it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Look.
In a sense, because the oil would last a lot longer.
We
I
need
had a Corvette that I was converting.
Hold on. We need lubrication. Let's go to P. Diddy's house. He has all the things.
Okay, why did you bring that up?
Okay.
It's a slippery slope.
Oh, yeah, right down the hole.
Yeah, anyways, I was talking to this kid in the middle of the night, right?
I know you were going back to the Corvette.
Where's the Corvette?
So, yeah, I bought 2 Corvettes, and one of them was going to be a hydrogen Corvette, or actually it was a free energy Corvette that we're going to enter into a couple of races up in Washington. And never got to that point, but started to, develop the hydrogen fuel cells for it and stuff, and that's where I got into that. But that's where I think, they were listening to me before, but when I got associated with that society, which was it was called a Faraday Society, but they were along the lines of Tesla.
What's so wrong with having an engine that creates no pollution, that an oil change could be tripled or even quadrupled in time frame instead of 3,000 to 5,000 miles?
Well, here's the interesting part about burning hydrogen. Burning hydrogen creates water.
Correct.
Right? So if you burn hydrogen, you literally, out the exhaust, you have water. The problem with that is you have to have stainless steel basically all throughout your system. Your fuel lines have to change. You have to have check valves because of high pressure. You have to have...
Okay, so you're telling me the oil companies need to turn into car developers so that they can make their money
No.
off the stainless steel parts?
Okay, so I actually talked to somebody about this just yesterday. You can completely cut out all gasoline and diesel, and still the oil industry would be perfectly fine.
That's my point.
You could cut out plastics, and the oil industry would be perfectly fine. You could cut out every textile
Except
that was made from polyethylene.
if you take away the pills, they're done.
But if you take away the pharmaceutical company,
You take away the pills, they're done.
that's where they're ended. The pharmaceutical company is 5 times the oil industry.
But it's
we
all,
go to war over oil. What do you think happens over pharmaceuticals?
We're not going to war over oil. That's what they like to tell us. But we're out in the poppy fields.
doing drugs.
You see what I'm saying?
A bunch of drug dealers around here.
I heard Cat Williams.
They weren't running guns from Mexico.
I love Cat Williams.
Cat
He's a good
Williams
guy.
was on the stage the other day. I saw a little clip. He said, "When's the last time y'all heard about the war on drugs?"
Yeah, because there ain't one. There ain't one.
He said there are way too much. He also said, about how, how I know that black people ain't making drugs no more. Ain't none of them know how to make fentanyl.
No. No, but just like everything else, it comes from China. It's all good.
Yep.
Oh,
So
Speaking of which,
so people think I'm liberal because I'm all for the legalization of every drug on the market.
well, yeah. I mean, survival of the fittest at that point.
Well, no. I believe that the war on drugs all that money would be better suited to educating people on what drugs do to you.
I also think we need to take warning labels off of everything and let nature take its course.
Matt, that's assuming that what they tell us they're spending on the war on drugs is actually being spent on some
Well, it's
theoretical
mostly
war.
in the intelligence agency to get drugs here, right?
Now, on that note, again, because see, you just brought up getting it here. You guys aware that October 1st, all of the major shipping ports along the Gulf Coast and the
Yes,
Eastern
going on
Seaboard are
strike.
going on strike?
Yeah, I am aware of that.
Isn't that something?
Very interesting.
Now, that shouldn't affect fuel or oil because we're talking container shipping, but that touches everything else that we
I was
do.
going to say, but all the high
know,
prices on everything
Do
that
you
we
remember
need?
when that happened last?
Not in 2021, right?
2021, I believe.
Yeah.
When was
And
Trump in
along with
office?
that, we had the ship get sideways in the what was the Suez Canal.
Yeah,
So
blocked all.
yeah, and you know, folks aren't aware of that. There's some folks that are, but there's another person that I follow on YouTube. He's a truck driver. He works out of the Portomobile. He's not trying to spread fear porn or anything. He's telling you what's going on the ground.
So I am hoping, I'm under the impression, or I've heard, got to watch what I say. Big Brother is watching.
Always. And listening.
That if certain things play out in the future, there will be certain states that will succeed from the union.
Like Texas.
We're not talking distant future.
No, not at all.
No. We're not talking
Within the
distant.
next
Just
6 weeks.
in the future.
It's definitely in the future, but
It's already
not
all written
distant.
up,
Yeah.
ready to go.
But let's say that happens. I've had plenty of people say, certain states or certain region of the U.S. wouldn't be able to survive. Well, what
Yeah.
they don't know is that a certain region of the U.S. has the largest port in America. A lot larger than what the East Coast has. A lot larger than what the West Coast has. And they have access to everywhere.
We have two of the largest ports in the world
Oh.
along the Gulf Coast.
He
Yes.
said it. Yes, we do. Mobile is one of them.
Mobile and New Orleans is the
Yes.
two largest ports along the Gulf Coast. And they rival other ports in the world. And yes,
Yes.
they are both on that list.
Mm-hmm.
And along with a lot of ports along the Eastern Seaboard. And
I've
so
got some stuff. I've got some stuff sitting at that port still.
I'm going to tell you, look, this guy, like, if anybody's interested
stuff.
in,
That I went down there, man, to collect some stuff that got shipped from China, and I was like, no, man, this is all what was it? Market research. Like, we're just trying to see if people want it. We're not selling it, so I didn't have to pay taxes on it. So I picked it up, but was only able to pick up like 20% of the product, and then the rest of it had to stay there until I was ready to pay taxes on it. Dude, that was in 2016, 2014, 15.
okay, so
Yeah.
were you like trying to have your own online store or something?
Like, what
Like,
I
what
had
were
a
you-
dietary supplement manufacturing company where I formulated, products, herbal products for companies and stuff. And we had labels and different things that were, being shipped from all over the world. I got into the import industry for a little while.
Because you have to.
You have to.
You have to figure out how to get it.
You derive the best sources from the best places. I still have 99.9% caffeine derivative from green tea leaf in my basement. I've got 2 kilos of it down there.
Yeah, it'd probably kill a person.
Oh, yeah, if you went down there and sucked it all up, for sure. I got L-theanine. I got 2 kilos of that. Now, if you mix both those together, you chemically induce alpha waves in the brain. Really cool. Alpha waves are like the zone,
Yes.
And so I know how to chemically induce those.
Still have
Can
any
we talk
Huperzine?
after Mead Talk?
I still have Huperzine. Whether it's good or not, I don't know. But I still have methylcobalamin B12 in an aluminum canister.
Much better than cyanocobalamin.
Yes.
Yes.
Much, much better.
And
For those who
you-
don't know, cyanocobalamin is made in a lab, and methylcobalamin is natural.
Well, one comes from
Quasi.
meat. Well, one comes from an animal source. The other comes from a
Yes,
plant
but it
source.
has to be manufactured to an extent.
Yeah,
As
and-
cyanocobalamin.
Well, yeah, totally. Yeah, and for every,
Whereas
like one
methylcobalamin works
so
with the methylates of the body. So
yeah, for every 1 microgram of cyanocobalamin, so for every 1 microgram of methylcobalamin, you have to have 1,000 micrograms of cyanocobalamin to get the same benefit.
But what all else is in that cyanocobalamin that you're
Cyanide,
getting?
right?
Yes, exactly. So it's refined through some chemical process that methylcobalamin does not have to go to, and it is much more potent and much more better for you than
Yeah.
cyanocobalamin.
Well, it's the same with like potassium iodide and like different forms of iodine.
What's crazy is, you can pick up a can. A lot of folks like to drink the energy drinks.
Energy drinks, yeah.
The 1 hour energy shot.
Pick up a can, pick up a bottle, read the label, because some do offer methylcobalamin B12.
And if it doesn't say, for example, Red Bulls, they'll say vitamin B12. It does not specify
It doesn't
which
specify.
one it is.
If it doesn't specify, it's
that it's going to
cyano.
be cyanocobalamin.
And I'll tell you why. It's cheaper.
A lot cheaper.
It's a lot cheaper.
I paid $1,600 for 100 grams.
And don't think we were not very careful when we added that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you
Man.
could make someone's heart hop out and start dancing
You'd
on
have
the
a
bar.
great day when you mixed it all up. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
we were
but,
sitting
hey,
out there snorting that shit.
That day has to end.
That dude, that like, there will be a time when we make some more of that,
Oh yeah, it's not over.
and
For all of you out there that's looking for it, for the get shit done stuff, I know there's a lot of people out there looking for
I
it
have
still.
never had
They still
anything
contact me about it.
that
Completely
makes
herbal.
me click like that does.
Dude, it was like NZT, right? Like it just opened every line. So I developed a brain formula.
I was just going to say, if you bring up the term alpha waves, then I know that we're on the right page.
Yeah.
Look, if you've seen the movie Limitless,
Yeah.
it's not quite that.
I'd say it's
But
pretty
it's
close. I'd say it's pretty close.
I need to broaden my horizon.
Gosh, dang, dude. But it's wild because there's so many companies after we started that took off with it, and they're not quite there though. They're not like I'm looking at them like, okay, yeah, cool. They got this, and even that company that you just recently sent me, Bravenly or whatever,
Yeah,
and it's like,
Bravenly.
and you're like, hey, they don't have the Huperzine A. I'm like, yeah, they're still achieving very similar. It's just they don't have that oomph, they just don't have the zinc methionine. They don't have the, they just don't have that little bit extra, right? That really just,
We call that lanyap where I'm from.
What?
Lanyap.
I have no idea what you just said.
It's a little something extra for nothing.
Yes. But it really sets things apart, Your brain is phenomenal. It is so phenomenal at what it does.
You want to talk about supercomputers?
Dude,
It took the human brain to develop
I love the way
a
Elon...
slow computer, let alone a supercomputer.
I love the way that Elon Musk talks about the brain, right? Because he's like, it is the most efficient computer in the world because it takes a total of like 0.10 kilowatts to operate.
It weighs
Or
less than
point-
8 pounds.
Or 10 watts. 10 watts.
It
right?
weighs less than 8 pounds.
Yeah, but it takes 10 watts to operate, but it can efficiently compute something far greater than a mega computer, which takes...
This is the equivalent of introducing a virus to a computer.
Of what?
This is the equivalent alcohol is a virus to your brain. It's the equivalent of introducing a virus to a computer.
Maybe.
If you have too much, then your speech turns into
The kind
you want to know
The kind that doesn't exist.
You want to know where it is?
you can definitely scrub the hard drive a little with some alcohol.
Yes, you can.
Or you can open it up.
You can't. Well, there's other ways too.
Yes, and I'm very aware of those.
Not all alcohol will lead to where you're talking about. So certain alcohols, I would say, are mind closers.
Yeah. So before I got into mead, actually, I think probably relatively parallel to getting into mead, I experimented with some ancient Egyptian brews.
Some old beer.
Not just old beer, but I would take mead and I would introduce Sacred Lotus to it and pack it, right? Pack a bottle of Sacred. Yes, Blue Lotus, yeah. And I would pack a bottle with it, right? And then it would sit there for 3-4 weeks, and then I would strain it out and I'd drink that. That is an experience in and of itself.
It's a minor psychedelic.
Yes.
It's like
Microdosing.
Microdose psychedelic.
with microdose of LSD or something.
Yes, exactly.
So it literally just unlocks the doors. It doesn't push you through the wrong ones. It just unlocks the doors.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's my point.
Yes.
It unlocks the doors. It doesn't push you through any one door. It unlocks them all. You get to choose.
yes. Exactly. Yeah, and so I've experienced a lot with psychedelics. I've gotten out of it since then. Whether I go back to them or not depends on my responsibility level, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, responsibility is key when you're dealing with that kind of
No,
stuff.
Matt will be 70 and be like, he'll call him up and he'll be like, hey man, we still doing what?
Don't go Timothy Leary on us, you know.
No,
No,
I'm
he'll
more
go
of the
men that
Terrence
stare
McKenna.
at goats type.
I'm more of the Terrence McKenna type, right? So I love to experiment and understand things. Terrence McKenna was, I'd studied him for a long time, dude.
Anna, can you get one more toasty, please?
Thank you, Anna.
And Mary Cherry.
Anna Mary Cherry. Oh.
Gosh dang it, I drank it all. But we
Yeah.
we appreciate you. Hey,
You know where to find us.
we'll get you back on.
Hey, man, yeah, no,
Just get you back on.
I'm not leaving. I got a date now, November 11th. I'm not leaving.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Hey,
November 11th is a
Where-
very
where-
significant date.
where you had it? It is 11/11.
Oh, shit.
We're getting into the numbers now.
Hey, contact. Seriously, we'll
No, I still got y'all's numbers.
Thank
get
you,
you
Anna.
back on.
Y'all text, absolutely.
We'll get you back on. We appreciate you, brother.
No problem, man. I'll see y'all later.
You
All right,
have
man,
a
be
wonderful
careful.
night. Good to see you.
Hey, where's Nathan going?
Wyoming?
Wow, was it Wyoming? No, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Now, I knew it was a W. He's going up north.
Get some curds, man.
Curds and
Oh, yeah.
way.
They got good cheese up there.
They do.
They got good
Very
cheese
good
up
cheese.
Good. Their heads are full of it.
I've got to go figure out what I need to get from the
Finger it.
from the bar.
Clit.
That's what I'm going to get.
Apparently, he found a map.
The map.
Speaking of which, I've started One Piece on Netflix.
Okay.
It's the live action of an anime. It's actually really good.
What's the title?
One Piece?
One Piece.
Yes.
That's not one that my daughter has shared with me. She shared one or two. But yeah,
If she knows it,
she probably knows it.
it's really good.
I'll have to ask her. 'Cause she's into that. She likes watching a lot of
Yeah.
anime.
Anime, man, I've been in anime since I was 14. Like 11, 12 years ago. I don't know.
Okay. Have another mead.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Dragon Ball, got started there, and anime is great because it's interesting to see how another culture sees things,
Yes.
and two, the things they come up with are fantastic. They're very entertaining.
Well, some of the anime that I've watched has been very thought-provoking,
Yes,
which is
it does that.
it's kind of odd considering, well, I say that. A lot of folks probably don't see it as odd, but I never got into anime.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up when all that stuff was coming out.
Right.
I was a Bugs Bunny and
Oh, absolutely.
Tom and Jerry, and I watched all that and He-Man and stuff like that. But
Care
by
Bear
the time
stare.
anime really went big,
Yeah.
and hit the scene where a lot of folks started to watch it, I was more outside. I was riding trails in the woods, cutting trails in the woods, going
Yeah.
fishing, trying to get across a 4-lane highway to get to the river to go fishing.
Right.
It just, I was outside playing a lot more than sitting inside. In fact, my mom was kind of mad because we grew up fairly poor, and it was a big stretch for Mom to get me a Nintendo for Christmas.
Yeah.
Somehow she pulled it off. But before she ever bought me a Nintendo, she bought me this game system because I had said I wanted to play some games. This game system cost more than Nintendo.
Right.
It did more than Nintendo. And I was upset because it wasn't Nintendo. The very next year, she came through and got me a Nintendo.
Yeah.
And guess what?
You barely touched the Nintendo.
I barely touched any of it. I was outside playing. I was doing what I should have been doing. I played some video games,
Yeah.
but I did not sit there for hours. I didn't make it worth her money. That's
Oh, no.
for sure.
We were outside until the light came on.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I hit my teenage years, when I started getting out of the going outside, playing, getting dirty, and all that stuff. When I got into anime. But yeah, we lived that life.
For some reason, somehow I never got out of
Never-
that stage.
never got out of
I
it?
still like going out and getting covered in crap
I
from
know.
playing in the woods.
I know.
I still love it today.
Look.
I still do it today.
Dude, my main mission when I was a kid, and I tell everybody this because it's true. My main mission when I was a kid was going out and building the most badass tree house
Yep.
you could ever imagine.
Yep.
Yes.
I did try to dig a hole to China. We had a canal. Okay, so I grew up on this cul-de-sac street. It was a trailer park. And so there were 36 lots out there. There's one street that goes down, and there's a cul-de-sac at the end. Well, at the very back, there was a canal back there. They had alligators and nutria rats and all the cool stuff to watch. When you're a kid, and nutria, not nuclear. They're kind of like a overgrown beaver, I guess. I don't know. They have a long, slender tail like a
A
rat.
swamp rat.
But yes, they're a swamp rat. But they have a body and head similar to a beaver. But at any rate,
Dude.
we'd watch alligators take them things out. One gets too
okay.
close to the bank or the water on the bank, and the gator just take them underwater. And
So I was here in Alabama when I was in 5th grade,
Mm-hmm.
right? Moved to California in between 5th and 6th grade.
culture shock,
Totally.
much.
So we live in an apartment complex. My school is right behind the apartment complex. So I can literally walk from my school, or from my apartment complex
Home straight there and back.
to school. Now there's a creek that divides. It's a valley, and then it goes up, and then it's school. It's the back of the school, so I had to hop the fence to
Of course,
the school.
this is California. I'm assuming this is like a concreted.
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No, totally, natural creek
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
everything back there.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
What part of Cali?
This was in Roseville.
Okay.
So Roseville, California.
Is that
Northern.
okay.
Yeah, northern. Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense as to why it was.
So-
South of Sacramento.
But
South-
it makes
yeah.
sense as to why it was more natural anyway.
Yeah. And so it's a creek, and then it goes up to the school. So every day across this creek, Go to the school. This creek was awesome. It's a year-round flowing creek. I think that's where you got into like doing the pizza stuff over at and that was like at the top of the creek on the street, and then But anyways, I cross this creek every day. There's certain spots of it, really awesome, dude. There's like, a 5-foot cliff or whatever, and you could jump off the cliff and jump the creek and everything, right? It's one kind of rainy day on our way to school, go to jump this creek, and the whole side of the cliff caves in. Ooh. As soon as I jumped, and which exposed a king snake that was in the cliff.
Okay.
I grabbed this freaking king snake up. I'm like, dude, this is gold right here. This is an awesome snake to have. I had already caught like gopher snakes and everything else before that, right? And always into catching snakes and amphibians and stuff. I catch this snake, throw it in my backpack, go to school. Didn't think anything of it, and somebody was telling one of my friends that was with me that when I caught the snake, telling some other kid that I caught a snake and it was in my backpack or whatever. And they're like,
show and tell time.
You're such a liar. It's not in your backpack. Blah, 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 blah. I said, what? Why do you think I'm lying? Or why do you think they're lying? I didn't tell anybody, and why do you think they're lying? That's such a dumb thing. No, there's no way you got a snake in your backpack. Okay, well, come here, look, And I open it up and I show him the snake, and he flips out, screams like a girl, runs to the teacher, right? So I get written up and everything. They call my parents, all this stuff, and they're like, he's got a snake in his backpack. He needs to get rid of it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, can I at least just go let it go back behind, the school? And they're like, yeah, fine, whatever. And so I take it out and I let it go and everything. But I get written up for it. I'm like, what? Why? This is crazy. Anyways, the beaver story. Same creek, walking across a little dam. A beaver comes up. Luckily, I was wearing shoes too big for my feet at this time because I wanted to be cool and have bigger feet.
You know why?
Yeah, of course.
Bigger socks.
Exactly. Yes. More comfort.
Water skiing barefoot.
Exactly. And this beaver comes up on this beaver dam that I'm walking across. Comes up, teeth, massive freaking teeth, right through the toe of my shoe.
But your toes weren't there.
Sticks a hole straight through the rubber, all the way through. Luckily, my toe was not there.
Yeah, those teeth go through trees. So
dude, yeah. Wild, dude.
That shoe was nothing for those teeth.
Nothing. It was soft. Yeah. It was like bubble gum to them. Yeah. It was wild. Beavers are...
Beavers are something else. And I'll tell you, Nutri-Rat have the same kind of big, front buck teeth. Of course, I've never had a Nutri-Rat come up and try to bite through my shoe or even come at me at all. Generally, they would just scurry back into the water.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, when we made them scurry back into the water, there was a waiting gator, so we had a show. Because, yes, an alligator will do much like a crocodile, and that is they will grab their food. If it is still alive, they will take it underwater, and they will roll with it, as Crocodile Dundee called it, the death roll. And they do, and it is very eerie. Honestly, I don't know. I went through Hurricane Katrina, and I spent a good 75% of the time that I rode that storm out outside. However, I think that the experience of an alligator taking live prey has burned more solidly into my memory than Katrina ever could.
Right.
Now, had I been in New Orleans itself, had I been in the lower Ninth Ward or somewhere that experienced the terrible flooding and death that did, had I had to go to the Superdome and live through the conditions that perhaps then those memories would be more ingrained. But there's very little
See you, brother.
that compares
Appreciate
to
you, man.
that. Ruben, thank you, sir. Have a good night. But there's very little that compares to that. When you step outside, out of your house, you literally do once again become part of the circle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can stay inside and stay safe from all that, but when you go outside and you experience an alligator grabbing prey and doing that and realizing the power and strength, it humbles you.
Here's the problem with your sentence.
Go.
I'm just gonna do a little correction here.
Okay, come on, grammar man.
It's not grammar.
Oh.
We have a word for inside and outside, and that bothers the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out. That bothers the crap out of me.
We have to go into this. We've got to explain just a little bit. Give us some context.
Because we live like we're aliens inside of a natural world. We isolate ourselves, live in synthetic environments.
Never touch the
and
ground with our feet.
It's just the wildest concept to me that we have a word that separates us from nature. We have an entire lexicon that is built around the separation, the alienation of a natural environment that we're supposed to live with.
Matt, it's gotten so bad now that they're making houses airtight. That's unhealthy.
Well, wait a minute now.
It's unhealthy.
Wait a minute.
I don't have a minute. I got a second. What you got?
I love airtight houses.
What do you love about an airtight house?
My house will be completely airtight. Except for the air that will be driven through the ground and brought into the house.
Okay, but you're getting natural air from outside into your house.
Of course.
Okay.
But I'll also have a buffer zone with a greenhouse built in.
So it's not hermetically sealed. It's sealed, but it's not.
Well, hermetically sealed for environmental control.
But what I'm saying is they are trying to keep the outside out.
Yeah.
And you're not.
No,
You're doing something different,
of it, yeah.
but you're not keeping the outside out.
But only at certain times and stuff. So like I'm all for controlled environments naturally. Hey, good to see you again.
Well, welcome
return.
back, even. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm not 100% opposed to hermetically sealed houses for the reason. Now, I understand what reason you're talking about because they want to filter everything that comes through the house. I think it's completely awesome for energy efficiency.
It makes it hard to close the front door.
Yes, because of the
I
air
used to be
pressure.
able to walk into a front door and pull the handle behind me and plunk, I knew it would close. Now I must go back and pull it.
That's an air pressure issue, right? So that's an air, the negative to positive pressure.
Love you too.
So we built.
This is something we need in space. If that is what they claim it is, it is not something we need here on Earth.
Well, even with clean rooms, you have. So we built a clean room that was up to specs of NASA. Actually, we had a guy come in to inspect our clean room for FDA and inspection and stuff. He's like, "Have you guys ever built a clean room before?" And we're like, "No, this is our first time." We we just we followed the guidelines and did the cubic feet per minute and tried to get the air circulation right, the pressure right, and everything. And we added this fan here and everything, and all we need is this filter, and we'll be good. And he was like, "Wow, you guys figured all that out?" And we're like, "Yeah, it's you just read the regulations and you can figure it out." And he's like, yeah, we like employ a whole division just to build these things, and they don't come near what you guys have done for the negative pressure in this room. And we're like,
And
I don't understand why it's that difficult.
and,
We did
and
it.
In case those of you out there missed it, here we are going complete circle. This is the knowledge versus wisdom argument.
Applicable knowledge. Yeah.
Correct. You can know what to do. If you don't know how to do it, it doesn't do you a damn bit of good.
Every bit of thing that everything that I talk about, and this is where people were like, you don't know what you're talking about and all this stuff when I start talking about things. And I'm like I had this conversation with somebody about health insurance last night over a campfire. They were like, health insurance is blah blah blah, and when health
By the
insurance
way,
did this and blah blah.
Firelight's very good for you.
And I was like, I don't do health insurance. And they're like, what? So what happens when your kids like have to go to the hospital, or you have to go to the hospital or something? I said, well, we don't go to the hospital. I said, what? I said,
Yeah, doesn't that blow people's minds?
Yeah, wild. We don't go to doctors.
Do what?
We don't go to doctors. We don't go to all this stuff. I said, if we get sick, we work through it. We do the natural stuff. We got a bunch of different things that work very well. But if we break a major bone or something, yeah, we'll go to the emergency room.
Yes.
How do you pay for that?
You pay for it.
With cash.
You pay for it, and if you don't have the cash,
that's
guess
so
what?
much. That's
Guess
so much
what?
money.
Most people don't understand or realize they're not going to refuse you care.
Nope.
They will,
not in the U.S.
They will bill you. And you do not have to pay them what the bill says. As long as you pay them something,
Yeah.
they are happy.
Well, I said, okay, think about this. For my entire family to be on a health insurance plan,
Around $1,000, close.
It would cost me about $1,600 a
Oh.
month.
Wow.
A mortgage, right?
Yes, a good mortgage.
What if I take that $1,600 and put it into an investment? An investment where I can pull out the money at any point in time,
Tax-free, no burden.
tax-free, to do with it what I will, where I earn dividends on. And when I die, my family gets that whole investment.
What if the whole corporate world worked that way?
They do! What a wonder. Walmart does it. Amazon does it. Disney does it.
Yeah.
Every major corporation out there does it.
They have an account that you can deposit money in, you can utilize
a whole
for
life
that.
insurance. A whole life insurance policy. That's what I got. And I pay into it every single month. And you know what? If anything if I have a heart attack, my wife can go in there and pull out a loan and pay for all the medical bills off of that insurance policy. So fantastic. You know why? Tax-free. Don't have to pay it back. I can, and I will. But
it's yourself that you're.
I'm paying myself back.
Exactly. You don't have somebody
And I
hunting you
still
down.
earn dividends on the entire amount.
What are you gonna do?
Even if I pulled it out.
Are you gonna like kick yourself in the ass? Hey, go pay yourself back.
No.
You can if you have the means, but again, if you don't, then it's a way to manage it without.
That's the thing. And I told this person this. They stopped talking to me the entire night.
They got upset.
I'm good. They got upset. And I was like, look, I said, look, it took me a while to get to the point. And I say a while. I'm still pretty young, but it did. It took me
Matt,
15 freaking years to get to that
part
point.
about this story is not that you shared with them a way that they could manage the issue, a way around the situation. It's not that, and that they couldn't accept it. It's the fact that they didn't think of it, and it challenged their paradigm.
That's not the issue. I'll tell you what the issue is. The issue is that everybody's on medication.
Well, man.
The issue is that everybody doesn't want to get off of medication.
And that doesn't make sense in and of itself, because oftentimes medication leads to other medication.
Well, that is mostly the fact. But the issue is that everybody's on medication. Everybody thinks that they are the only ones in that situation when there's thousands of people in their direct vicinity that
Well-
have the same issue.
Pity falls in there too,
Yes.
because you can always start a pity party, but you got to
Yeah.
have something to back it up.
This is why I got out of the health industry. Now I have a degree in this stuff, right? So like, I gotta, I'm 13 credits away from a master's degree in this, right? And I probably could have gotten a naturopathic doctorate's degree very easily, but I didn't want to because it's such a difficult sell, Even though I'm not really selling, I'm trying to help people. I've helped so many different people. And when I start talking about the different patients that I've had and different people that I've had, helped and stuff, people are like, yeah, right.
But see, you're up against centuries of science.
Which, is science leads to everything that I say, but they don't want to see that science. They want to see, the political science.
You got to remember there's at least two different sciences when you reference science, if not more. It depends on the topic.
If you can't figure out that when you go to the doctor and you give them your symptoms and they give you a drug and say, try this, if it doesn't help, let me know, and you go back saying this didn't help and they give you another one, if a doctor is a practitioner, they're not a professional.
No.
They're a practitioner. They may get paid for practicing, yes, because they went to school for so long, and people in the past have told them this is what works.
A good deal of their income comes from that which they're peddling to.
Well, I told somebody last night, a doctor doesn't know very much about health. They know how to diagnose and treat symptoms with pharmaceuticals that they're given.
Yes.
So that is purely what a doctor knows. They don't know anything about the health of the body. They don't know how the body functions.
However, these same people will immediately take their car to the dealership when the check engine light comes on.
Yes. Because they don't know how to diagnose the symptoms.
But
they treat the body like a mechanism.
Exactly.
I've had this conversation with many people. They're like, you don't think doctors need to exist? I'm like, I'm not saying that.
No, we should have doctors.
Look,
Certain
neurosurgeons, they know exactly how the brain works and how the nervous system is attached. They know that. They know that well. Cardiologists, they know how the heart works. They know how the respiratory system works.
But here's anatomy of the body and the multitude of functions and chemical reactions that happen in between there and in the meantime is totally different. But I believe that doctors are extremely crucial and they are in medical, or they're in ancient medical systems or medicinal systems in Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the most advanced medicinal system in the entire world. There's 5 factions of it. Some of it is doctorates and surgical applications. But it's very far and few between, and they still use herbs. They still use all sorts of things that we could utilize in our current practice. Even in Japan, they use. I've seen brain surgeries done and heart surgeries. What is it? Organ transplants done on a patient that is still awake.
Okay.
Without any anesthesia at all.
Those doctors are necessary. I'll give you one right now that's going to pick a scab for sure. You know a doctor that we don't need? We don't need oncologists.
No.
Oncologists are a waste because cancer has been solved for a long time.
Very long time.
But there's more money in putting medicine on it than there is in fixing it.
Well, the biggest misconception with people in cancer is that you get cancer.
No, cancer
as
comes
opposed
from within.
to we're all born with cancer.
Cancer
cells.
comes
It's
from
just
within.
It's
exactly.
our cells.
It has to do with the environment and what you eat.
Well, okay, so every single cell or every single person has mutated cells that develop uncontrollably. all on their viral load. They call it the viral load in the alternative medicine world, right? The viral load is how many funguses, which is dependent on how much sugar you intake, how many bacterial issues you have, your gut issues.
But it's good versus bad.
No, well, it's all of those things in it, and it creates a load, a taxation on your immune system. Your immune system regularly deals with cancerous cells. Cancerous cells are just simply cells that have been oxidized
Yep.
to where they mutate uncontrollably, right? So
Antioxidants.
they replicate uncontrollably. One of the simplest things that you can do to mitigate pretty much every cancer cell is to take a supplement called L-lysine.
Or fast.
Well,
Hold on.
antioxidants,
Well, but hold on.
all of that together.
L-lysine is the most prevalent amino acid in your body. And if you take that and you take, therapeutic doses of it, more than what is recommended to you, a USDA style,
Of course.
you will completely stop the growth of tumors and cancerous cells. Now, leukemia is a little bit different. I've dealt with that before. I've dealt with a red blood cell cancer that I've helped somebody get rid of in 3 months. Leukemia is easier to deal with than that. Only 3 doctors in the entire world, at least at the time, knew how to deal with the red blood cancer leukemia style. And I helped somebody get rid of that in 3 months. So it can be done. It's just people don't believe it, and that's the problem. Because they're taught that doctors know all.
That's what I meant by you're up against centuries of quote-unquote science.
Yes.
Because people have become programmed, brainwashed, if you will, into believing that that is the answer. You must seek the answer through the pharmaceutical realm, and that's not the truth. Most of what ails most people can be cured through some natural course.
So let's talk about this real quick. So the Bible mentions fasting quite often.
Yes.
People don't understand what fasting does
I
to
fast
your
daily.
cells. So do I.
Yes.
I'm an intermittent faster.
I don't generally eat breakfast. It's supposed to be the most important meal of the day.
Well, here's the funny
If you
thing.
skip
That's a
it.
marketing tool.
If
Well,
you
here's the
skip
funny
it.
thing.
Go ahead.
Break fast breakfast. It doesn't matter when you eat after your last meal. Breakfast is breaking the fast. That's why it's called breakfast. Your body will go into fasting about 6 hours after your last meal. That's
Which
when
is
your
overnight,
metabolic rate
generally.
changes, and that's when you go into fasting. Me personally, here lately, which I was just telling Matt, like I've been eating 1 meal a day.
You want to slow your metabolism down? Eat breakfast every day, a heavy
Yes,
breakfast. You
absolutely.
will slow your metabolism
Your
down.
body produces insulin when you eat, a bunch of other chemicals that your body doesn't need or want at that time. That's why after you eat, if you haven't fasted, you'll get tired, you'll get sleepy, you'll be like, it's the insulin and everything that's happening there. As for your cells, when you fast,
Regeneration.
the cancerous cells, or when your cells die, that can cause toxins and stuff to be released. If you don't fast, then those toxins tend to stay behind. Your cells don't fully get rid of the toxins.
It's like wringing out a
reproduce.
rag. You
Do you
okay,
have
Matt?
hiccups?
If you've got the hiccups, you need a glass of water and
I'm
a
just
spoon.
doing some breathing exercise over here, guys. Jeez.
Okay, just checking.
Well, you're looking at the laptop like either you got the hiccups
I'm just
or you're about to
sparing.
punch it.
Look, I'm disparaging all of the excess carbon in my lungs. I'm just. Y'all continue. I'm just listening. I'm
Me-
not.
me
I'm not
too.
angry. I'm not nothing. It's just.
Mead Talk Kegels.
No, not at all. I'm actually doing some breathing. Oxygen is extremely important. How
Oxygen
you utilize
is
it,
important.
How you
However,
utilize it is extremely important.
oxygen, by the way, very important. However, the number one oxidizer
What? No shit. No.
Yes.
Here's an amazing.
We cannot live without it, but it will kill us.
Yes. That is why you should be grounded.
Correct. And that means like walking on the ground barefoot.
Why?
Well, because your body's going to retain the electrons, the negative charge.
Why?
Well, because we're insulated from the ground.
No. But why?
Well, I would assume now, again, because I don't know this, but I would assume it's because negativity breeds negativity.
Okay, but negative what?
It's negative charge, right?
Okay,
Negative.
so the negative charge comes from negative hydrogen ions that are released from the Earth.
Okay.
So here's the cool thing, right? So hydrogen ions are the only mineral ion that can actually travel through electrical means, right? So it can actually travel through conduits.
Mm-hmm.
You are a conduit.
Correct.
And if you don't believe so, go touch an electric fence.
Ouch.
Go try to be in a pool when a lightning strikes it.
Just rub a balloon on your hair.
Go stick two wires into an electrical outlet and see if it shocks you. You are
It will.
an electrical being.
It
right?
will. I'm here to tell you.
Yes, electricity travels through your body. Now, here's the great benefit to that. When you touch the earth gives off the negative hydrogen ions. Those negative hydrogen ions travel through your body, and they are the greatest antioxidant in your entire, that you can get out of any
I understand
thing.
this.
They neutralize oxygen.
And it be
Not
through,
only do
through
they-
electrolysis.
But not only do they neutralize oxygen, they bind with it to create water. It's really great. So
So it actually helps hydrolyze you.
yes, every single night I sleep on a silver threaded sheet that is grounded to the earth. Why? Because
I don't have a silver threaded sheet. I do, however. You can come look. It's there right now. I have a piece of solid copper wire.
there you go.
14-1 Romex, or 14-2, sorry, Romex. Solid copper wire that passes through, goes to a stake in the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it is just an S-shaped serpentine back and forth across where I lay on the bed.
There you
And
go.
I sleep on top of it.
There you go. So I used to, when I found out about grounding, I used to wrap
Around your toe.
I used to wrap a
did that.
copper wire
It's not much fun.
around my ankle.
I did
when I slept.
my toe, and
Yeah, I
it
did my
was
whole-
it was uncomfortable
I
trying
did-
because I tossed too much.
But I slept on the second floor, right? So I ran it out the window, down, and then I ran a silver rod about 3 or 4 feet into the ground and then wrapped that copper wire. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Are y'all the ones that had to get the directions? I
Glad you
appreciate.
found us.
Hey. Hey, did you like the
What do you
mead?
think?
I'm so glad. No, it's horrible. You need to throw
That's-
that in the garbage when you
Take
walk
it home,
out.
try it again, make
Find
sure it's,
some
hey,
honesty, right?
it may get better with age. We don't know yet. Let us know. Come on back.
Just so you know, indefinitely it gets better with age. so.
We've all gotten better with age, so
Thank y'all so much.
Y'all have a
Thank
wonderful
y'all.
night.
But yeah, so I used to wrap a copper wire around my ankle and run it out the window down 2 stories into a grounding rod, silver grounding rod that I ran into the ground until I found out about the grounding company, which actually...
You know what's funny is how many people will call you out for hooey, and they won't try it.
I was called a warlock.
They will call you, yes.
I was literally
You
called
devil worshiper.
I was called a warlock.
Where do
oh
you
yeah,
get devil
totally.
worshiper for
I was called
grounding?
crazy names. Then I went to ranger school. Check
Wow.
this out. Check
Rob's
this
mic
out.
got fully erect.
Got excited there. I was called a warlock, all sorts of names. Then we went to ranger school, and a lot of the guys that was there was with me, and they were like, "This is what you can do to," and not specifically in this tone of voice, but this is what you can do to eat from the wild. This is what you can do to all the animals and stuff. When they get injured, they lay on the ground because it helps them heal and all this stuff and everything. And they were looking at me like, holy shit, you've been talking about this for years. Like, yeah, motherfucker. Of course. I was out there eating dandelions and stuff right before we had this class and stuff. I was out there picking dandelions, eating for the lecithin and everything else, pulling up the roots, drying them, making teas, all that stuff. I had elixirs set up in my room. And then we go to this school, and, they're all like, holy shit, dude, you could really survive. I'm like, yeah, I survived 45 days just harvesting food from the wild. What do you guys think I was doing? Like,
when I go to take my dog out, twice a day, at least, bare minimum, could be 3. But bare minimum twice a day. In the morning before I go to work and when I get home from work, I'm going to take Annie out. She's going to do her business. That dog gets extremely excited when it's time to go outside.
yeah.
But I'd lay dollars to pesos that she's not excited that she gets to relieve herself bowelly or of the bladder, but more so that when she steps outside, she feels all that release. And that's what she's looking forward to. Not so much that she gets to go to the bathroom. Yes, she will. That's just an item on the agenda. The main priority is to get my bare feet on that ground. I need to be on the ground. And so I think she's more excited that she gets to go outside and dispel the bad charges.
Yeah.
And that rejuvenates her. That gives her another lease on life, if you will. She feels great after that. And of course, yes, she gets to relieve herself. But I think because she's inside most of the day and night, she doesn't get that grounding. But when I get home, she gets that feeling when she steps outside, and she's waiting for that feeling.
So before we end this, because we were already 2 hours in.
We're running late.
Let's recircle the last bit here. Why do you think it's important that we don't participate, or at least we acknowledge the fact that AI is currently trying to manipulate our thoughts and such?
I don't think that we don't participate. That's what I said earlier. I think that it's just important that everybody's aware and that they play by the same rules.
Skynet.
Because, see, unfortunately, right now, we're playing by their rules. We're not playing by all the rules.
So you think that we should always be skeptical?
Oh, you should always be skeptical.
So
You
who
should
do
be
we
skeptical
trust?
about what I said. I mean, it's your job at that point to go on from there and figure
I
out
always
if
tell people, look, you should be skeptical of the Bible.
You should be skeptical of everything.
But being skeptical of the Bible is why I came to believe in it. You know?
Exactly.
And
You will
that's what I tell
never-
people all the time. I'm like, that's why I'm a Christian.
You can
Like-
you can come to knowledge without
We
skepticism.
love you, Anna.
You cannot come
Bye,
to
Felicia.
wisdom
Love you.
without skepticism.
Yeah, I believe that 100%.
Good meat talk.
That's some good things to end on, I think,
Some
right
meat
there.
talk.
That's a good meat talk.
Look, I don't know why we ever said this would be an hour long. It hadn't been an hour long since the
Gosh,
second one.
Yeah, really.
I don't know why.
It's
we did
only
that.
ever an hour long when it's just you and I, because
Yeah.
we abide by the rules. Apparently,
Yes.
we could go on longer. We're just like, hey, let's cut it off.
Well,
Yeah.
if you add another mic and another person, you'll get to 4 hours.
At this point, we got 2 extra mics.
Yeah, right here,
Yeah.
Mike and Mike. All right, let's cut this off. Hey, we appreciate you so much. It's been awesome.
You guys, look, I might be moving to Florida. but I'm not gone forever.
Hell yeah.
You
When
know where to find
when
us.
I come back, you know.
And we know
I'll
where
be-
to find you, just so you know. We go down to Florida quite often. Just
We
so you
do.
know.
Well, you know, before I met you guys, I didn't have a need for mead.
But now,
However, seeing as even if I knew of another place to acquire said mead, I don't know that I would venture there.
yeah.
I will be back.
Well, hey, you just let me know, and I'll let you know when we're coming down. I'll just bring some bottles down, and we'll just have a chill moment, you know?
Absolutely.
Usually we stay in a house when we go to Florida.
We do.
Hey,
Probably on the beach.
By the way, love you guys.
Love you too, brother.
We love
Appreciate
you too,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's